Light within us. Introduction. There is a quiet truth most people sense but rarely name. Beneath the noise of ambition, fear, comparison, and survival, there is a steady light within us. It does not shout. It does not compete. It does not beg for approval. It simply is. This inner light is not reserved for saints, mystics, or monks on mountaintops. It belongs to ordinary people living ordinary lives. People who wake up tired, carry responsibilities, struggle with doubt, and still long for peace. To live a heavenly life is not to escape the world, but to move through it differently. It is to cultivate a mind that is ordered rather than scattered, a heart that is strong rather than hardened, and a spirit that is grounded rather than restless. When ancient texts speak of angels, they do not describe creatures consumed by anxiety or ego. Angels act with clarity, obedience to truth, and calm strength. To live like angels, then, is to live aligned with truth, with purpose, and with inner peace. This reflection is not about perfection. It is about direction. It is about learning how to live from the light within us, rather than being driven endlessly by what is outside us. Mental strength and spiritual strength are not separate disciplines. They are two sides of the same reality, an inner order that allows life to be lived fully, wisely, and calmly. 1. The nature of the inner light. The light within us is not emotion. Emotions rise and fall like weather, nor is it personality, talent, or intelligence. The inner light is closer to conscience, awareness, and presence. It is the part of us that knows when something is right, even before we can explain why. It is the still point that remains when everything else feels unstable. Many people live disconnected from this light, not because it is weak, but because their attention is constantly pulled outward. Noise, speed, comparison, and consumption dim awareness. Over time, a person may forget that they are more than their thoughts, more than their fears, more than their roles. To rediscover the light within is to remember that we are not empty vessels waiting to be filled by success or pleasure. We are already inhabited. Peace is not something we import from the world. It is something we uncover by removing what blocks it. Inner peace does not mean the absence of difficulty. It means the presence of stability within difficulty. A person rooted in their inner light may still experience loss, pressure, or uncertainty, but they are not shattered by it. Like a flame protected by glass, the light remains steady even when the wind blows hard. 2. Living with angelic order. Angels, as symbols, represent order, alignment, and clarity. They do not act out of impulse or ego. They are not divided within themselves. Their strength comes from unity of purpose. Human suffering often arises from inner division. One part of us wants peace, another chases validation. One part longs for truth, another prefers comfort. This fragmentation drains mental energy and creates anxiety. Living with angelic order means bringing the inner life into coherence. Thoughts, values, actions, and goals begin to point in the same direction. When this happens, life feels lighter, not because it is easier, but because resistance decreases. Mental strength grows when decisions are made from principle rather than pressure. Spiritual strength grows when values are lived consistently rather than selectively. Together they create an inner architecture that can support both ambition and humility, effort and rest. Order is not rigidity, it is harmony. Like music, a well-ordered life allows variation without chaos. There is room for joy, grief, work, and silence, each in its proper place. 3. Detachment without withdrawal. One of the greatest misunderstandings about spiritual life is the idea that it requires withdrawal from the world. True detachment does not mean indifference. It means freedom. To be detached is to engage fully without being consumed, to work without worshiping work, to enjoy pleasure without being ruled by it, to care deeply without clinging. Inner peace grows when identity is no longer dependent on outcomes. A person who knows their worth does not rise and fall with praise or criticism. They act from conviction rather than fear. Angelic living, in this sense, is grounded. Angels are not distracted by status or possessions. They move according to purpose. When humans adopt this orientation, mental clarity increases. Decisions become simpler. Anxiety loses its grip. Detachment also allows compassion. When we are not constantly defending our ego, we can see others more clearly. We listen better. We judge less. We respond rather than react. 4. The discipline of inner silence. Silence is not emptiness. It is space. Without silence, the inner light is drowned out by constant stimulation. Mental noise creates spiritual blindness. Inner silence is cultivated, not found. It requires disciplined moments of stillness, reflection, and intentional withdrawal from distraction. This is not escapism. It is maintenance. Just as the body needs rest to repair itself, the mind needs silence to regain clarity. Without it, thoughts become repetitive and distorted. With it, insight emerges naturally. Silence reveals patterns we normally avoid seeing. Habits of fear, loops of resentment, hidden longings. This can be uncomfortable, but it is also liberating. What is seen clearly loses its power to control unconsciously. Angelic life is not noisy. It is attentive. Practicing silence aligns us with that attentiveness and strengthens both mental focus and spiritual awareness. 5. Strength through obedience to truth. Modern culture often equates strength with dominance or self-assertion. Inner strength, however, comes from obedience to truth. Truth requires humility. It asks us to admit when we are wrong, to adjust when reality contradicts our preferences, and to act rightly even when it costs us. This obedience builds resilience. A person aligned with truth does not waste energy maintaining illusions. They are free from the exhaustion of self-deception. Living truthfully simplifies life. It reduces inner conflict and builds trust, both with oneself and with others. Mental strength grows because attention is no longer divided between what is and what we pretend. Angels, symbolically, are messengers of truth. To live like them is to carry truth into daily decisions, conversations, and priorities. This is not moral perfectionism, it is moral clarity. 6. Peace as a byproduct, not a goal. Inner peace cannot be chased directly. The more one tries to force peace, the more elusive it becomes. Peace is the result of right alignment, not the reward of effort. When values are clear, actions are consistent, and attention is disciplined, peace emerges naturally. It arrives quietly, often unnoticed at first. This peace is not numbness. It is aliveness without agitation. It allows joy without frenzy and sorrow without despair. Mental and spiritual strength mature together here. The mind becomes less reactive, the spirit less restless. Life feels less like a battle and more like a path. Angelic peace does not deny suffering. It transcends panic. It trusts that meaning exists even when understanding is incomplete. 7. Living heaven now. Heaven, understood rightly, is not merely a future destination. It is a way of being oriented toward truth, love, and order. When we live from the inner light, heaven begins to shape our present lives. Relationships become more honest. Work becomes more meaningful. Solitude becomes nourishing rather than lonely. This does not remove struggle, but it redeems it. Challenges become opportunities for growth rather than sources of despair. To live heaven now is to choose presence over distraction, principle over impulse, and depth over speed. It is to walk through the world without being swallowed by it. Conclusion. The light within us is real, steady, and sufficient. It does not promise ease, but it offers clarity. It does not remove effort, but it gives effort meaning. To live like angels is not to abandon humanity, but to fulfill it. It is to live ordered rather than scattered, peaceful rather than frantic, strong rather than hardened. Mental strength and spiritual strength are not luxuries. They are necessities in a world that constantly pulls us away from ourselves. By returning to the inner light, we recover not only peace, but direction. Heaven begins wherever truth is honored, silence is practiced, and the inner light is allowed to lead. The light within us has never left. It has only been waiting for our attention. If you enjoyed this reflection and these ideas resonate with you, you're very welcome to subscribe for more audiobooks and contemplative content like this. If you have thoughts, questions, or would like to explore other books or themes in this space, feel free to share them in the comments. I do read them. And if this video helped you in any way, a simple like is always appreciated. Thank you for listening.